I know my college decision. No.
Couple questions.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about just as a drummer? So on the EP and the single,
Mhm.
as a drummer recording, like for the young guys out there or girls, what was that like? What was that process like?
Mhm.
Obviously, you had recorded the single with Chronic Delta as well, but like, what's the process like for you recording drums in a studio?
Yeah. So the first time I ever recorded drums, it was with my previous band. Like we had, I'll just mention this briefly. Like we had tried to record like a record or an album a few times, but it never really worked out. Mainly
Hmm.
because like we were stressed out with what we were doing. But then we recorded the single, and I was like, okay, this is a bit, daunting. But then when me and Christian were like, let's record our EP because we realized, hey, we have 5 songs. Let's just, put something together. Because originally it was just gonna be, let's record this EP because we were super into this band and like just kind of like writing songs at my house, in my room, and like it was just like super fun and something just felt so different about this band at the time. And we were like, well, we're probably never gonna, be in a band like this again. So let's just record this one EP and just release it. And then, we'll throw in the towel that because that's all we really like first saw was like, let's just do this. That'll be it,
Hmm.
and it'll just be like something that we get to look back on. It's like, that's super cool. We're really proud
Yeah.
of what we did. And that did happen, but it continued on. So when we recorded the EP, it was a bit more relaxing, knowing
Hmm.
that like, or at least assuming that, okay, this is really going to be it. At least it was in my head when recorded, because we recorded the drums for all 6 songs in a day. Like some of the tracks, I think it was the one Moose Creek Smooch, the single. I think I did that entire song in like 7 minutes. And we were like, well, we don't need anything. This is
Well, and
fine.
let's
Like we're
wait, let's
happy
pause
with
there.
this.
Let, let's pause there for a second because for
Yeah.
those who haven't heard the song, uh, this song's like 2 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 7 minutes. I mean, like we're talking, it's kind of like the ideal experience, right? When you're recording, it's like two, three takes,
Yeah.
probably, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you banging it in and out. That's awesome,
Mhm.
and um, to do all 6 tracks in one day. Yeah, you
Mhm.
you probably did what, two, three takes, maybe four on per song, would you say,
Uh,
or
some of them, it came really quickly. Like, I think there might have been like one or two where I did
amazing?
it in
Yeah.
like, and I think I did it in like 2 takes. But then there were some where it took us like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Because for a good number of them, we just went in and we're like, okay. And then I remembered, oh, I have to like think of drum parts. So for a
Yeah.
lot of so for a lot of the recording process, I'm like just coming up with stuff on the fly, and every take I'm like, oh, that was cool. That wasn't. Let me bring this. Let me
That's
carry this
awesome.
thing I was doing over to the next one until we got the takes that we wanted, and then we kind of like cut them together at points and what we had to. But
Right, right.
yeah.
And that's a common thing, right?
Mhm.
Like for people out there that don't know, that's a very
Yeah.
common thing, right?
Yeah, I had to come up with just like a lot of stuff on the fly that actually happened with our album currently. So
Sure. Yeah.
think that
That's good
very much
because
rings true.
yeah, and that's good because you're inspired in the moment, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, I definitely think that there's a time and place for like, very structured, beautiful compositions. But then I just find too that like so much of the beauty of like music is in that not improvisation, but like that in the moment playing,
Yeah.
And there's beauty in improvisation too. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
like, with what we're talking about here, it's like just that capturing the moment, even on a
Yeah.
record, I think is so good. And sometimes you just, like you said, you get that idea, and then it's like, okay, this idea works on this take with that idea on the other take, and what if we combine them into one take?
Mhm.
Um, super cool, man. So uh I kind of paused you on Moose Creek Smooch there for a second, so I'm
No
sorry about
worries.
that.
No
Yeah,
worries.
keep going, or we can fast forward if we need to.
Okay. No, yeah, but just like to kind of wrap up what I was talking about for the EP and recording the drums for that, it was just like kind of nerve-wracking because I then remembered, oh, I have to write parts, or like come
Yeah,
up with things. I can't just kind of noodle. I have to kind of be a bit more in tune with the song, and like play to the song, not just play to what fits.
mhm. Right.
Um, so that was kind of like a big learning experience, and still to this day, you know,
It's
it still
awesome.
kind of happens.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So then, you guys, this past fall of 2023, you guys recorded a full length record,
yeah,
with Gary producing the whole thing,
yeah.
top bottom.
He
So,
produced it, he recorded it, and he's mixing.
and amazing. So, what was that like? What, like doing a full length album?
Okay, so I don't know how to describe this. So basically, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said that we set the record for least prepared band because we showed up with to do a 10 song record and we showed up with 4 songs. And but
Oh
like
my gosh.
5 kinda, because like I had written a song a few days before we went, so I knew it, although it wasn't finished lyrically, but I knew the structure and how to play it. But the rest of the guys, they didn't know because they didn't know it existed. So I was just like, I we got 5, and Mike was like 4. I was like 5, and I think we said 6. I don't
Oh
know
my God.
why, but we were super underprepared, and it was really scary for like the
Mhm.
first few days, especially in weeks because but honestly, I'm kind of happy because a lot of the stuff that we did, like certain songs specifically, wouldn't have happened if we weren't that underprepared. Because there's like a song on the record called 40, very disturbing. And that's probably my favorite track on the record. And that wasn't even like a thought in my head or
Wow.
anyone's head, like in
Yeah.
terms of like this type of song or just like this song in general, like wasn't like no one like had any ideas that kind of contributed to that song. And it just kind of happened within some of the last few days while we were there. But yeah, no, it was really scary because we were trying to like go through the songs because typically when bands go there, it's like, okay, you play all your songs first, we demo them, then we get like feedback one at a time. It's like, okay, maybe we can change this or blah, 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 blah. Like it was just kind of like just feedback. It's like, this is a very strong song. This one needs a lot of work, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And um, that didn't happen. We did one song at a time. And it was like, okay, we're gonna demo it, then we get the feedback, then we jump into recording it. When usually it doesn't happen till a bit later. And so we had more time to kind of come up with new stuff. So it's like we did like the first song, which is the first one we recorded, it's called Rocks. And we did that one, and that one went fine. And then we did Grounded, and that took a few days because that one we needed like a lot of work on. So like we had some time, but we ended up kind of being ahead of ourselves. So it's like
Great.
he'd be like, all right, guys, new song tomorrow, and we're like, sure. And we had a new song by then because we like pretty much every time at night, like after we were done recordings, we record from like 10 to 6, I think, every day. And if we had to go over, we'd go over, but like we'd do that. And then after that, we'd like take an hour break and then jump into practicing and writing and stuff. And as the days went on, the load got lighter since we started
Yeah.
to get to kind of pump out the songs that we were kind of proud of. And then jumped into them with Gary within the next day or a few days. But it was
It,
really scary for a while, and me and Mike specifically, like we kind of had like panic attacks like every other day, where it's like, oh no, everything's going wrong. And I look back at it, and like we talked about it the other day, it's kind of funny, but like at the time it was like super scary because we're at this like super prestigious studio with Gary, and like we understand the stakes we're in, and like the fact that not many people can go to a studio like that and record like a full length, and that we were there somehow, like out of, like so many people, he asked us to come and like found us, because if we'd ever found us, we wouldn't have known about the studio. But like, so we understood like where we were and like kind of like what's going on, and like really like we're like, okay, we need to like just soak in what we're doing, like this is super cool, and just be really appreciative of what we're doing. And then it got easier to like record and like create. But yeah, no, it was, we were very underprepared, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. But
You shouldn't be.
it was
I
it
no,
was fun.
not to cut you off.
No
I
worries.
just want to. You shouldn't be, because I think it's a great story, first of all,
Yeah.
and the other thing is like, what an experience! Like, what a
Mhm.
great experience, because it was like a sink or swim moment for you guys
Yeah.
individually as musicians, but also collectively as a band, and you made it happen.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I love it, and also it's really cool. I think the way Gary ran the sessions.
I was never enough for you.